is the Next Level Loan Officers podcast. To learn more about Next Level Loan Officers, go to becomennl.com.
Hello and welcome to the Next Level Loan Officers podcast. My name is Kellen Vaughn here in the World Next Level Podcast Studios and bringing you another episode, the only podcast for originators by originators that exists today. Joined by my co-founder and dear friend, Mr. Sean Zalmanoff. Sean, welcome to the studios today.
Kellen, thank you. Thank you for having me, and honored to be here with you and our special guest. Although can you call him a guest anymore?
I mean, family is probably what I would say is a better fit. But, listen, unless you've been living under a rock for the last couple of years, our guest needs no introduction and always brings amazing value. Let's give a great next level welcome to Mr. Jason Frazier. Jason, welcome.
Love it. Sound effects and everything. And Kellen, your intros are becoming just grander and grander each time. So I love it.
Listen, we aim to deliver, Jason. We aim to deliver. So, well, listen, thank you so much for joining us today. This is kind of a cool show because in a sense, it's a little bit of an announcement as well as, we are just so honored to have you really joining the ranks of the Next Level family. And you've been hanging around with us for a long time and a great contributor, but you've kind of taken on a bigger role here, and this is really exciting. And so we have a lot of listeners that are not only members but other folks that tune in every week. So, share with us a little bit about just kind of some of the stuff you're going to be doing with Next Level now, and some of the value that you're going to bring to our members and everybody else in the community.
Yeah, well, I think it just came down to, I was tired of just following my big brothers around to the store and to the playground and stuff like that. And so I figured, hey, put on my big boy pants and be involved. But seriously though, it for me, it's, as you guys know, like I love the community that you guys have founded and built. I've loved being part of Next Level and being a coach to help loan originators execute and what we feel is what's needed. And so, one thing that, when the opportunity came up to take a more active role in growing the community, because ultimately my purpose in here is to make it, to leave a legacy and make an impact and a difference in others. And so that our originators are here next year, 5 years, 10 years from now, that this industry endures. And so, Next Level is the right community at the right time. And that's something that all of you, listeners and members of our community are going to hear over and over again because it's needed. And, the proof is in what you guys do, what we all do every day with originators, Power 90, actions that matter, all of that. It works when you do it. But here's the difference between us and other programs is we're not a program, we're a community. And it's a community built with a bunch of pros, right? Not people that were successful 10 years ago or 15 years ago. Nothing wrong with that. But, if I'm an originator and I'm coming in and I just had a VA deal fall through, I had an appraisal issue, I'm trying to get a PIW, I'm trying anything and everything to deal with this low inventory, I'm going to coach. A coach kind of gives you like, hey, just keep at it, be consistent and do that. A pro, which is what we all here are going to tell you, this is what I did yesterday, not 5 years ago. This is what I did today in a market like yours. And this is how I found success, right? That's the difference between what we do and what others do, right? And it's not about run a Facebook ad to get leads. It's not about, call every agent between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. every Monday, which they hate, just to call them so you could check a list, right? It's about calling them to talk about, hey, here's a playbook. Here's how I'm going to help you and give you value to get more business, to do listings. This is something different. And because it's not just you, it's something that you heard from Sean or Shane or KT or Sonny on a podcast, right? Or some of the other great members that we have in the community, Ashley or Rebecca, and putting that all together, it's really like what I look at is kind of like a real-time dynamic playbook for today's industry. And look, I've been a part of every other group, seen every group. Nobody's doing that. And so if you really want to grow your business for today, by learning from professionals that are doing it today, we're the only community around that's doing that.
You know, something that we've talked about for a long time, and Jason, it really kind of sparked with what you did a few months ago back in me with EPMX when you put together a fantastic event there. And just hearing, you know, I wasn't even there, but some of my partners were, and they were talking about education, and how realtors are just craving it. And so I went and pulled a bunch of data from Fred. I pulled data weekly from the National Association of Realtors. And so I have a very fresh presentation that I update monthly. And I've probably given, I don't know, a dozen times in the last month and a half. And just yesterday, I got to give it to a good sized brokerage, about 10 realtors here in St. Louis. And it was just awesome. There's only one person in that office that uses my team. And at the end of it, it was just like, I was like, you know, here's 10 pieces of information. Just take two, whatever two resonate with you most. I guarantee you, if you talk to your clients about this, you're going to close more transactions this year. And man, if I would have done some of these, man, but I just wanted to say thank you, because if I didn't hear it from everybody who heard it from the agents that you brought on, I would not be giving as many of these presentations right now. And thanks, man. We're crushing it with what we're doing and educating realtors.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's just, you know, taking it. But the cool thing is that you're doing it. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. That what you just said is something that someone's listening is going to be like, okay, cool. I want to know more about that. Or our members that already get that on a daily basis. Like, oh, awesome. What was that? What did you watch? You know, that's what I'm talking about. And for something literally like you're going to, if you join Next Level, you're going to get more than one loan, right? From it. Right. And one loan pays for 2 years of membership. Oh, yeah. Right. And so like, you're going to get way more than that. And you know, what's the saying, you know, give more in value than we take in payment. And, yes, and that sir. Couldn't be any more true. And that's why, again, this is just the right community at the right time for that exact reason.
So let's talk a little bit, because I know we use the word community, and maybe not everybody understands what that means. And they go, I don't, you know, you're talking about community, but I'm looking for something. I'm looking for a coaching group. I'm looking to grow my business. Right. Mm-hmm. You know, this really all goes back to and I think we just did our like 20th live event in, where were we last? San Diego. Thank you. We're all over the place, but I think we did like our 20th event, and I'm 99% sure at every event we have said the same thing, which is the power is in the group, right? Like the power is not me. It's not Sean. It's not KT. It's not Jason. The power is the collective, right? The power is all of us coming together, to your point, Jason, and sharing ideas that are happening in real time. You know, I've said this probably a dozen times now, but we were at a mastermind last year in Fort Lauderdale. And that was like 4 markets ago. But anyway, if you remember what that market was like, we were all trying to get offers accepted, right? And one of our members, rolled out this amazing strategy with video. It had like 3 steps, but super easy to execute again. And I remember taking that back to my team, right? Because I'm originating. So guys, I'm learning too at these events. And I took it back to our team and we put it into place. And I bet you we closed 12 deals just off that strategy, like deals that we otherwise wouldn't have done. Right. And again, that's not because we had one guy who we all think knows everything standing up in the room and teaching it. It was because we took what this person was doing over here in real time. We added a little bit of what this person was doing as well. And you bring it all together and it's like the best. So we call it a community because we're a lot of like-minded people who are willing to share, willing to, be an open book about what we're doing, and not have a scarcity mentality that if we give away this idea, somebody else is going to take business out of us. I'm here in Dallas, Fort Worth, which is, I don't know, a sea of 8 million people. And there's a lot of next level loan officers that are right here. And I coach and I provide guidance to my competition every day. And it has yet to, backfire. So I just love that, man. I love that idea, and what we've got is this amazing community. It's just, to your point, it's just different than anything that exists.
Well, Kellen, even though that was 4 markets ago, that was actually what I closed with after presenting to them yesterday, talking about what we do to get their offers accepted ahead of others too. So
yeah, we still do it now, but
Yeah.
it's just, again, it's that adaptation. And Jason, you said it at the beginning, which I think you probably were being very generous. You said guys who haven't been in the market in the last 5 years. I would say if you haven't been in the market in the last 18 months, you might as well have never been a loan officer, right? Because I mean, think about that. Like if you were gone and you just came in and it's been 2 years since you've been an originator, dude, you're a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Like that world has changed, that much. So
Yeah.
I think that's great.
This isn't your father's mortgage industry, right? Like, and that couldn't be more prevalent when you're with everything that you're seeing today. And like I said, everything that we're going through right now has never happened at the same time. Now have rates been high? Have we had war? Have we had inflation? Have we had, a pandemic before? Sure. Right. But not all at the same time, not in modern times, with a globally connected economy, with the market, with the political discord and anything.
You forgot that margin compression to that as well too.
Oh, and margin compression, right? We've had those all, but not like one layer and then one layer and then another layer. And so really this year has been another part of that. And so we're all learning together. We're all learning on how to get business, to navigate the markets, navigate personalities, appraisal issues, innovations, and everything else, but not losing who we are. And that community just isn't important for us, but it's important in what you're doing. Because yes, you are selling a home, right? Like let's just understand that you're selling a dream. You're selling people on achieving their goals. You're not selling a mortgage because nobody wants that, right? You're selling the end product of what that consumer is trying to get. So it's again, this is different times, and you got to approach consumers differently. And to your point, Kellen, like if you haven't been doing this the last 2 years, if you got in the business in 2020 and you're what we call refi rich, that's great. But like now it's purchase. Now it's big boy time, right? This is the NFL, right? This isn't right. What you were doing before. This is pro time. And I love it. Honestly. I mean, yeah, I want to say I love it. I love the opportunity that a market like this provides those that are pros and those that are willing to invest in the community, like what we have at Next Level, because it is greater than just, okay, if I have an issue, and let's say in a normal coaching environment, I have to go to a Sean or a Kellen, get an hour, talk about that, and and pay for that time. What we have here organically is like, let's take Rebecca Foote, for example. She's just, as she's traveling and doing stuff, like she came and visited me in Atlanta. Right. And we had like a nice coaching session just talking about it. Didn't cost any money. She was already traveling anyway. But that's the thing. And she's gone there. She's gone to you guys. She's gone all over the place to just talk. And then she's not the only one. Other members will regularly talk and just have their own little private masterminds because of the community as competitors coming together. And you just don't see that.
Yeah. Now, there's 3 or 4 groups. I mean, that I was looking through our Facebook page today that are meeting and setting each other up and holding each other accountable inside of Next Level. And it's awesome to see, Jason, you mentioned something saying, this isn't your daddy's mortgage industry anymore. The other thing too, that as originators, we all have to understand and educate our realtors on that they don't do the best job of disseminating this information. Whoever their clients are, this ain't their daddy's home buying market anymore either. And so when daddy's saying, oh, we're going to negotiate off that list price, and you're like, well, do you want to buy the house or not? Because that ain't how it works today.
That ain't happening.
Well, all these people too, I'm not going to buy a house. I'm going to wait for it to crash. There's no way I'm going to pay over. You just lost $80,000 in equity in the last 2 years because you didn't buy that house. And so, really as an originator, whether you're using a bid over ask tool, whether you put it in a simple Excel sheet, educating your realtor partners, making it different for them. One of the things that we talk about all the time, and for almost all of us, we are going to give less referrals than we receive from our realtors. But what I tell my realtors, my mission is if I can decrease the time you're spending with your buyer and your car by 30%, I know it's easy for you to fill another buyer in this market right now. You can find another buyer. There's plenty of them out there. Just made you 30% more money. And so these are the kind of not only conversations that you need to be thinking about and having with yourself, but you need to be explaining to them to differentiate the value that you bring to the bottom line for them.
Yeah, no, totally. And I want to get a good example here. So I have a guy that used to work for me. I won't say a guy, he's a kid, right? He's still a teenager, right? And this kid's amazing. And he worked with me for a while and decided to branch out to go because he wasn't really getting an at-bat where we were at. But he wanted to be an originator. Part of him being an originator was listening to this podcast, was being inspired by listening to you guys, to the other, the other pros that we have on here, our members talking about that. I remember being at an event with him and he was doing a totally different role. And a loan officer, a seasoned loan officer was talking about that. He's like, well, you know what you could do is yada, yada, yada. And it was something that he had heard on this podcast. Now, fast forward 6 months, guy's still a teenager, right? He won't be 20 for like another year. And guess what? He signed on with their company. He's got $3 million in his pipeline, right? In today's market, from a guy that wasn't even originating, didn't even have his license 6 months ago, right? So that's what I'm talking about. And look, does that happen for everyone? No, but the difference between someone that doesn't happen to and someone that does is a simple word. It's called execution, right? And committing to the process. And that's what we talk about here all the time is that, Kellen could give you a gold strategy, right? Just an A to Z, soup to nuts, do it all, right? But if you just sit there and one, tell yourself and talk yourself out of not doing it and giving you a ton of reasons of why it won't work, or like, oh no, that's whatever, then it never will, right? But if you execute on it and can be consistent with it, it can and it will. And there's so many members that can just tell you that it is. And so the reason I'm saying all this isn't like, yeah, Brett, I want you guys to really understand the power of what we do here. But at the end of the day, what I really want you to understand is that the time is now, right? Like, I mean, I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what like disaster. We can't add any more like, disruption.
Don't say that.
I know I should. I know this is next week when someone like, opens a cave that hasn't been opened up for like 5,000 years. And then like the demons come out, right? Like, so yeah, so I shouldn't say that. But really, like, I don't know what else it's going to take. But one thing that you guys have probably, you have heard me say, and for those of, have, followed my content, I hear say all the time, whether rates are 12%, 15%, 18, 7, 8, it doesn't matter. Business is always done at a high level amount, even in inflation, even in recessions, even in times like this, business is always done as it is today. It's hard. It's difficult. But it's always done. The difference is who's going to be doing that business. Business is done in every market, and there's always a reason that you're not successful. Why don't you try to find the reasons that you will be successful and focus on those?
And that's the ATMs, man. That's what we were saying. Like when this kid, he heard something on a podcast, heard somebody else repeat it, and then he decided to go do it over and over again. I mean, the difference in success and bankruptcy is just getting off your tail and repeating actions that work every single day. I mean, that's the beautiful thing is, whether you have a third grade education or you're a rocket scientist, if you execute inside of the mortgage business, you can be successful, man. It ain't that hard, folks, if you choose to do that.
No, it's not. I've often said, hey, I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but I can execute probably better than anybody. Right. And that's the deal is if you're willing to take an idea that somebody tells you and just go with it. Right. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to execute, just take it and go. Right. And you're right. I'll talk about ATMs and kind of Power 90 for just a second, because that's a big cornerstone of our community. Right. But like, our Power 90 program is kind of the first 90 days that a loan officer goes through when they join our community. And listen, again, I kind of go back to what I'm saying, like, don't try to reinvent the wheel. Don't buck the system. Like, we've built this 90-day program because we've been around literally thousands and thousands of loan officers, and we know what it takes to be successful. And it's not a blueprint that says, to your point, Jason, how you got to make 100 phone calls between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. on Mondays. It's just putting in place the actions that matter, that makes sense for your business in your community. And we all agree those are going to be different. What works for Sean in St. Louis is not necessarily what works for me down here in Dallas, Fort Worth. But I know enough to say, okay, these 4 or 5 things, these 4 or 5 actions, these would work in my market. What Power 90 does is holds you accountable to executing on those on a daily basis. And my promise is right here, and I'll give this guarantee on the air, right? Like, if you come into our group and you pick 3 or 4 ATMs and you execute them for 90 days and you don't see a change in your business, I'll give you your money back, right? But if you promise me that you did these things on a daily basis and you don't see a difference, I'll give you your money back, because it's impossible, right? We all know that. Like, if I go to the gym for 30 minutes every single day and just take a 50-pound dumbbell and lift with my right hand, my bicep on my right side is going to be massive at the end of 90 days. That's just a fact. And it's the same thing in your business, right? Easy, Sean. If
every person that has watched Family Guy is laughing their ass off.
Right. We're gonna keep moving here. If I take those things that are meaningful to my business and I go and I spend 30 minutes a day investing in money-making activities and actions that matter, there's going to be a material difference in my business in 90 days. And that's all we're about. Yes. And that's all you have to do. And if you want to get, 5 or 6 extra deals done this year, which for a lot of people in the loan officer community, that's a major difference in their life. That's what we want to help you do. So Jason, man, I couldn't be more honored to have you as a bigger part of our community. Like, can't think of a better guy, a nicer guy, a more of a giver to the loan officer community than you. And like I said, man, our members and myself just over the moon excited for what you're going to bring to this group and to everybody listening. So
all you have to do is go to becomenl.com. That is becomenl.com and find out for yourself, guys. It's $197 a month. As we were talking about earlier, there is no community on the planet of loan officers that will take as little in payment and give you as much in return as we will. Guarantee it. Come check us out. Come find us. Hang out with us. We'd love to have you. We'd love to move the needle in your business. And we got the right pros in place to help you.
That's it.
Yep, 100%. Come check out Kellen's 50-pound right arm.
That's it. It'll be on display at the next mastermind.
I want it to be noted that I was able to not say anything.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, for those, watch the YouTube, because you'll see a big old smile on Sean's face when Kellen was talking.
That's right. Check us out on YouTube. You can watch this. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you on the next Level Loan Officers podcast.
Peace out, y'all.